August 7th, 1942, marks the day when the tides of the Pacific War shifted not with a grand naval battle, but on a malarial, jungle-infested island named Guadalcanal. As dawn broke on August 7th, 1942, the 1st Marine Division stormed the beaches of Guadalcanal, unknowingly stepping into what would become a 6-month nightmare. Just 6 months prior, the Japanese had appeared unstoppable, having seized vast territories across the Pacific. However, their swift expansion left key strategic locations vulnerable, and Guadalcanal, with its potential for an airfield, emerged as a critical point of contention. The United States, reeling from the attack on Pearl Harbor and subsequent losses, recognized that establishing a foothold on Guadalcanal could disrupt Japanese communication and supply routes, making it a gamble worth taking. The task fell to Major General Alexander Vandegrift and his 1st Marine Division, a force of about 11,000 men. The initial landings were surprisingly unopposed, the Japanese having underestimated the strategic importance of the island. This oversight allowed Marines to quickly secure a perimeter and capture the nearly completed airstrip at Lunga Point, later renamed Henderson Field, after Major Lofton Henderson, who died at the Battle of Midway. The capture of Henderson Field was crucial. It provided the Allies with a base to launch air operations and challenge Japanese air supremacy in the region. The Japanese, startled by the audacity and speed of the Allied offensive, reacted swiftly. The strategic value of maintaining control over the airfield was not lost on Vice Admiral Gunichi Mikawa, commander of the 8th Fleet, who remarked, "We must retake Guadalcanal and its airfield, whatever the cost." Within days, Japanese reinforcements were dispatched, leading to the first of many fierce battles to reclaim Henderson Field. The control of this airfield became emblematic of the larger struggle for Guadalcanal, with both sides pouring in resources, men, and materiel, understanding that whoever held Henderson Field could dominate the air and tip the balance of power in the Pacific theater. In the ensuing weeks, the Marines fortified their positions amid relentless Japanese attempts to dislodge them. Nightly bombardments, later dubbed the Tokyo Express by the Allies, became a harrowing norm as Japanese ships attempted to deliver troops and supplies under the cover of darkness. It was during one of these nightly raids, later in the campaign, that Sergeant John Basilone would earn the Medal of Honor for his role in repelling a massive Japanese assault, his small unit credited with killing scores of enemy combatants in a single engagement. With Henderson Field under precarious American control, the real battle for Guadalcanal was just beginning. The initial American strategy of rapid engagement, followed by persistent defense, transformed the island into a quagmire that tested the limits of human endurance and military strategy. The struggle not only marked a turning point in the Pacific War, but also a psychological shift. For the first time, the Japanese advance had been halted and then pushed back, altering the course of the conflict. This grueling campaign demonstrated the ferocity of the Allied forces and foreshadowed the brutal island hopping that would characterize much of the Pacific War, setting the stage for a prolonged conflict that would ultimately stretch the resources and resolve of the Japanese Empire to its breaking point. Marines, battling not just the entrenched Japanese, but also crippling diseases and relentless rain, found themselves in a relentless fight for survival on Guadalcanal. The humid, malarial jungles and daily downpours took as much of a toll as the enemy fire. Conditions were horrific. Dysentery and tropical diseases debilitated scores of troops. In the words of Marine Private First Class James Reynolds, "Every step could be your last, not just from a bullet, but from the jungle itself." The Battle of the Tanaru on August 21, 1942, marked one of the first major engagements. Japanese forces, under Colonel Kiyonao Ichiki, attacked the American perimeter with a force initially believed to overmatch the Marines. However, the defenders, using the natural barrier of the Tanaru River and benefiting from broken Japanese communication, repelled waves of frontal assaults. Only weeks later, from September 12th to 14th, the conflict escalated at Edson's Ridge, also known as Bloody Ridge. This key position, vital for the protection of Henderson Field, saw Lieutenant Colonel Merritt Edson's raiders, a mere 800 men, withstand repeated assaults by a numerically superior Japanese force. The struggle was desperate, ammunition ran low, and the Marines resorted to hand-to-hand combat. Edson later recounted, "It was a nightmare in hell. Men fought with whatever they could lay their hands on, knives, fists, even stones." Providing critical support during these ground confrontations was the Cactus Air Force, a collection of Allied aircraft operating out of Henderson Field. Despite facing constant bombardment and shortages in supplies and replacements, this makeshift air group managed to keep the Japanese at bay, ensuring that the Marines held a precarious control over the air. Their role became crucial in maintaining a tactical edge, with pilots often flying multiple sorties a day in battered aircraft, as noted by Flight Officer Joseph T. Jenkins. Every takeoff was a gamble and every landing a relief. As the ground war intensified, so did the naval engagements around the island, marking some of the fiercest sea battles of the Pacific War. The struggle for Guadalcanal witnessed the naval battle of Guadalcanal in November 1942, a brutal confrontation at sea that would see losses on both sides, including the American aircraft carrier USS Hornet and the Japanese battleship Kirishima. This battle underscored the interlinked nature of ground and naval warfare in the Pacific theater, where control of the sea lanes was as crucial as the land they bordered. Through these relentless battles, the Marines on Guadalcanal not only faced a formidable opponent in the Japanese forces, but were also locked in a daily struggle against the jungle itself. Their perseverance under such extreme conditions marked a significant psychological and strategic shift in the Pacific War, similar to the impact Vietnam would later have on American forces. This campaign foreshadowed the brutal, unyielding path the war in the Pacific would take, moving from one blood-soaked island to another, each victory paid for with innumerable sacrifices. The waters around Guadalcanal, dubbed Ironbottom Sound, became the graveyard of numerous warships, a testament to the ferocity of the naval battles fought. Among the most significant encounters was the naval battle of Guadalcanal in November 1942, a series of confrontations that underscored the desperation and strategic importance of the island. Over several days, from November 12th to 15th, U.S. and Japanese fleets clashed in what would become one of the most pivotal naval engagements of the Pacific theater. The battle commenced with an intense night engagement involving close-range combat between cruisers and destroyers. Admiral William Bull Halsey, overseeing U.S. naval operations, had ordered a force under Rear Admiral Daniel Callahan to intercept a Japanese bombardment group. The resulting melee was chaotic and bloody, illuminated by the flashes of gunfire and explosions. Callahan and his counterpart, Rear Admiral Hiroaki Abe, both lost their lives in a stark testament to the battle's ferocity. The U.S. lost 2 cruisers and 4 destroyers, while the Japanese retreated with 1 battleship heavily damaged and unable to participate in further combat. This naval clash, while costly, prevented the Japanese from bombarding Henderson Field, the vital airstrip on Guadalcanal, crucial for controlling the surrounding sea lanes. Following this, another significant engagement unfolded on November 14th and 15th, when Admiral Halsey sent a new task force to challenge the Japanese reinforcements. This battle was marked by the loss of the USS Juneau, which was torpedoed, leading to the tragic deaths of the 5 Sullivan brothers, an event that would resonate deeply back home in the United States, symbolizing the ultimate sacrifice of American families. The relentless battles on land and sea gradually eroded the Japanese capacity to sustain their offensive, leading to a critical shift in war dynamics. The attrition of Japanese naval resources became untenably high. By the end of 1942, They had lost 24 major warships in the battles around Guadalcanal. In contrast, the U.S. strategy of attrition was proving successful, leveraging their industrial capacity to replace losses more effectively than the Japanese could. By January 1943, the Japanese Imperial General Headquarters made the painful decision to evacuate their remaining forces from Guadalcanal, signaling a significant strategic defeat. Operation K, the Japanese withdrawal, was executed under cover of night and without the knowledge of Allied forces, from January 14th to February 7th. This evacuation marked a profound shift in the Pacific War's momentum, transitioning from Japanese offensive operations to a defensive posture for the remainder of the war. The Guadalcanal campaign, and specifically the series of battles both on land and around Ironbottom Sound, proved to be the real turning point in the Pacific War. Japanese Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto himself acknowledged the impact, reportedly stating before his death that Japan was on the defensive and that "we can run wild for 6 months. After that, I have utterly no confidence." Indeed, the campaign had lasting strategic implications, inhibiting Japanese flexibility and operational reach, and shifting the balance of naval power in the Allies' favor, setting the stage for further Allied victories across the Pacific. The Guadalcanal campaign, through its grueling 6 months of bloodshed and valor, not only shattered the myth of Japanese invincibility, but also marked the pivotal momentum shift in the Pacific. It was not just a battle won, but a psychological and strategic turning point that set the stage for the eventual Allied victory in the Pacific. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more World War II history. Thanks for watching.